Sometimes we feel our ex is unaffected by the breakup. While you are going through a rough patch, you're having really hard time to digest this breakup. You feel that your ex is having the best time of their life, and some might say that they moved on. You might feel that it's over. I'm going to explain you in this video that it's slightly more complex than that, and what you can see might be different than how they feel, and I'll explain you why in a minute. Jacob.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So let's look first at the current situation. How long did you guys break up? How your ex feels about you? Whether they feel disrespected, they feel indifferent, angry. There's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of behaviors that we can see and expect from an ex, depending on the dynamic of the breakup, depending on the dynamic of the relationship. It's very different, a breakup, when someone decides to end the relationship out of the blue, or if it's because after years and years of resentment. It also depends. What is very important for you to assess is what was your behavior, what did you say, what did you do after the breakup. Especially if you were too clingy, too needy, sometimes it can make things worse. A simple way to see it is action, reaction. When you do something, people react. When you do something with your ex, when your ex does something, there's a reaction, okay? And it's a dynamic. A relationship is a dynamic. If you're not sure about where you are right now, I put together a quiz to know if you have any chance to get back with your ex, and you'll see what I'm about to explain later in the video makes sense. If you have a score above 15, so the quiz is free, and you can find the link in the description, but it gets you an idea of where you are. Above 15, you have a chance to get back with your ex. Below 15, I think you should be realistic with your chances. We live in a distorted reality. So from Louis Rosenberg, the problem with who's done studies about social media, the problem with social media is not the content, but it's the distortion. It's distortion of reality, and we are all not guilty, but victims of that. I'll explain you why and how it works. We form ideas, the human intelligence, we form ideas and concepts with 3 simple steps. We perceive the world, we generalize, and we build mental model. Okay? The problem is, nowadays, the perception of the world is distorted with what we see on social media. And we tend to see that social media is the truth, and therefore we generalize, and therefore we build mental model. Okay? So beware, and I'm using the social media because, first of all, it's a tool that people use after a breakup, and they manipulate the reality this way. And it's also something very easy for you to understand, because we all have Instagram, TikTok, and you name it. The idea that what you see is not necessarily the truth, is what people are okay to share. The image you see on social media, the image your ex is willing to share, is something they decide to show. Okay? So be aware of the reality. It can be manipulated, and it probably is manipulated. The same way we manipulate, we filter out the bad images, we pick only the best ones that we post on social media. It's exactly the same. I should actually sometimes cut part of my videos, but I keep everything anyway. On my video, I try not to edit too much. Type 1 of distorted reality or image they want like us to see is the YOLO. You live only once. You only live once. They party hard, way more than usual. They try to make you jealous. They change their haircut, their appearance. They are doing that because they try really hard to distract themselves from the pain. And it's forcing them to confirm the decision. They think they'll be happier dumping you, and therefore they do tons of activities that make them feel them happier. Does it mean that they're happier? They're sort of faking it, they're sort of pretending it. Okay? It's usually dopamine-driven experiences, partying, drinking, clubbing, are they happier this way? Short term, yes. Long term, TBC. So we'll discuss after that, because I'm going to share with you different types. After that, what you should be doing. Type 2 is the F off type of thing. When they felt hurt of something you said or did and that resulted in the breakup, or when you were too clingy. And I see that very often, mostly the second one. When you didn't respect the decision, they asked, I need a break, we need to split up, I need this time apart, and you don't respect that, and you spam them, you message them, you try to call them, you show up at their workplace, you show them, you send them flowers and all these kind of things. The more you do that, the more violent the response will be. You're going to escalate basically their response. And in order to be heard, sometimes they communicate things that are quite nasty, like, I never loved you, stop harassing me, I don't love you, leave me alone. Okay? Usually when I speak with people who receive this kind of message and analyze what happened, I can clearly see that they had this kind of obsessive behavior in terms of communicating with the ex, and that is extremely dangerous if you want to get back with your ex. So be aware of that. Make sure that you haven't done too much damage after the breakup. Type 3 is, I am dating someone, therefore I don't need you. As you know, if you date someone very quickly after a breakup, we call that a rebound relationship, and rebound relationships are likely to fail. And the same way as YOLO, is the idea of, I need to escape the pain. I need to deflect the experience of the breakup, and they would replace you, that sort of framework, that structure, because they don't want to be alone. They find it very difficult. They need sometimes someone to tell them how great they are. They need to boost their self-esteem, and they use that person. In order to deal with the breakup. But using a person is different than being with a person, being with someone you care, being someone you build something with, you have history, and not only attraction but also compatibility. And so what I call this emotional placebo, this effect will fail at some stage. Okay? Most of the rebound relationships don't work because statistically, if you think about it, it took you perhaps years to find your ex and your ex to find a person like you. Statistically, it's unlikely that they find the same relationship, the same strength, the same effect with someone they meet 1 month after the breakup. It's statistically impossible, or unlikely. Type 4 is, I am winning. I want to have this perception that you're the loser, I'm the winner. I decided to end the relationship because I feel I am better off. And so they will be telling people that they've never been so happy, that they're so happy with the decision, even to a point where they feel the need to share it proactively. So they will show up to dinner places like, oh, I'm so happy right now. And you see, it's very fake. It's totally fake. I'm so happy right now. It's the best decision I've ever made. Why didn't I do that earlier? All these kind of things. They'll be very, very vocal about the breakup. And if you think about it, if they had something special with you, regardless of the reason of the breakup, you cannot be sort of happy and released to be single or to have ended a relationship. There should be a moment, always a moment, where you grieve that relationship. And you can't really, for me, it's really pretending to feel like, oh, I've never been so happy. No, you're pretending it, for sure. So it's a classic one, because again, they want to validate the decision and deflect the pain. Okay, so these things are, so I just wanted to show the perception and the rationale why people would behave in a certain way. It is hard for them. You had something special, as I mentioned. If you were in love, they cannot be indifferent. We all have different ways to deal with breakups. Some people are very emotional, some people are less emotional, some people they're struggling to understand their emotions. I was a bit like this before, but even though if I had a relationship with someone I cared, it would be difficult. I wouldn't be, if I look at my past relationship before my wife, remember one of them, it was hard for me to follow her on Facebook, and I decided to unfollow her. So seeing her updates from her or pictures from her, it was really hard. So I was not indifferent. It affected me. So we have different ways to deal with the pain, but you have to understand they also are feeling those nasty emotions. Maybe and probably less than you because they took the decision, and less than you because the problem is that there's a lag between the dumpy and the dumper. For them, the grieving process started when they started to think about breaking up with you. Perhaps it was 6 months ago, but between these 6 months ago and today, the day they told you that they wanted to break up, they had months to prepare themselves for that breakup. For you, it was just no preparation. Maybe you were in denial that something was wrong, you didn't see it coming, and it happens a lot of the time. And when it happens, bigger the pain. Bigger the surprise, bigger the pain. And right now, of course, most people watching this video, they suffer more than their ex. But it doesn't mean that their exes are not suffering. It's just a perception. Remember the social media. We only share 5% of our best selves on social media, for example. It's the same with your ex. Few yellow cards I have to... when I say yellow cards, it's the thing that I've seen from my clients, thinking, oh, it's a great idea if I do that. So I'm going to give you a yellow card if you do one of those two things. So there's one, and after there's another slide. If I show him or her how much I suffer, they would change their mind. The rationale being like, if I'm in distress because they care for me, they will sort of change their mind. The answer to this, is it a good or bad solution? It's not a good solution. Another way, it's not. I've sort of looked at the problem in different ways. It's not a good solution. I've never seen a case where it worked. So, and I know, and I've seen that a few times, people think about that. It is a bad solution. It's a bad move. Simple reason, pity, feeling sorry, never ever brought people together. If your ex feels pity or feels sorry for you, that won't bring them back to you. Okay? Probably gonna make things worse. So remove this idea from your head that by saying these kind of things, you will get back together or you will increase your chance. It's actually the opposite. Okay? Another one, and you see it's more or less the same outcome. If I tell them I love them, simple answer is no, it doesn't work. Another one could be no, it doesn't work either. It's less dramatic than the first one, but it's just not enough. You had months and years to make your ex feel loved. When you say, I'm in love with you, after the breakup, it's just what they don't want to hear this. It doesn't matter. Usually they know that they love you, that you love them when they break up with you. Okay? So telling them, I love you, you're important, I can't live life without you, that will never trigger something thinking, oh yeah, so they love me, so I'm going to change my mind. Okay? It's too late for that. You can still say it, but don't think that by saying it, that would be enough. I would use this with a pinch of salt because honestly, your ex should know whether you love him or her. That's not the point. But thinking that, I need to be there, I need to show them how much I love them, I need to show them how much I suffer will make things worse. Okay? So recap. What you're going through is tough. I know it. I've been in your shoes. I help people dealing with this pain every single day. I know it's tough. What you're going through is normal. It's natural. It's just a question of how can you deal with those things. Okay, and that's the only question you need to ask yourself. And your ex is probably experiencing the same in a different way. And with the lag, as we discussed, they felt anxious and depressed before announcing this to you. And that's why there's a delay. And that's why you have the perception that they don't seem affected. It's really an iceberg where you only see the upper side of the iceberg. But there's a lot of things going on below the water surface, okay? Now, their objective is to deflect the pain. Nobody likes to suffer, and we've seen 4 cases when people want to really deflect that pain away by either pretending to be happier, by either finding someone that they can use as a sort of rebound relationship that they can use to be with in order not to be lonely. They could proactively be very sort of vocal about the fact that they love their life, just to confirm their decision. Your job is not to add more drama. The perception is not the reality. What they are sharing, what they are deciding to share, is just one part of the reality. And trust me on this, of course, what they are going through is totally different than what they're able to share, what they want to share to the world. And you should be the same, you should be doing the same. Because in a way, it's not about faking it, but in a way you want to project an image of someone mature, or someone self-confident, with high self-esteem. That's the thing I wanted to say. Really important, because you can't attract someone, you can't make them fall back in love if you're crying, if you're sad, if you're negative, okay? You have to bring positivity, and I know it's hard, I know it's very difficult for you to do right now, but it's what works. And right now, if you are struggling and you feel like, okay, they moved on, I should give up, but you still think if you took the test, or if usually we know in our gut feel whether we have a chance or not to get back with our ex. Get some help. Try to find someone you trust to help you. It could be me, it could be Sanela who works with me, it could be anyone else you find online, anyone else you find locally, either a relationship coach, a psychotherapist. But don't stay alone, because the thing is, the pain that you feel right now won't disappear by itself. The problem and the distance you have with your ex, it's not something you can address on your own. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this video. Be realistic about where you are, where you want to be, and find the ways, the resources to help you fill that gap. If you have any question, if you like this video, don't hesitate to like. It does help me a lot, as well as subscribing to my channel. And I see you next time. Bye-bye. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.